Did you know that insurance providers notice how your company policies are written and followed by management?
No!
If your answer to that question is no, then let me tell you that our commercial insurance specialists here at CNS Insurance would highly suggest that you take a closer look at your fleet's company policies. They can be your first line of defense against litigation when accidents happen. The safety compliance officer at your company is there to help drivers and employees follow these policies, as well as update them when there are changes made to state and federal regulations. The main problem with these policies is that if they are too strict or too simple, it can hurt your company. You need to find the right balance. So, do you have a safety manager or a safety director? Yes? No?
Maybe so.
Well, if you do, does that safety guy even have the time to manage all their duties?
No!
Most carriers start looking for a full-time safety manager when they have 20 to 30 drivers. However, their day-to-day tasks often bury other important duties if there are more than 50 drivers. If policies are the shield for your company, it is the safety manager who makes that shield strong. It is their job to build safe operations, screen new and current drivers, decide on adding or using safety technology, and grow the company's safety culture. They often also help with insurance renewals, litigation, and real-time driver risk management. They can become overwhelmed very quickly. This is why we highly recommend a third-party compliance company to manage parts of their duties so they can focus more closely on managing the drivers. This can include taking over basic tasks like the management of drug testing, policy updates, mock DOT audits, pulling important PSP reports, DQ file management, and so much more. If you need this kind of help, just fill out the form below or give us a call at 1-800-724-5523 and we can put you in touch with one of our DOT compliance specialists. Now, let's talk a bit about how policies can affect safety and risk management. In one of our recent podcasts, Andrew Walker, the safety director of Shipley Energy, said,
when you're talking about risk management and the litigation side of it, as important as the regulations are your company policies. Because if you don't follow your company policies, you make yourself negligent. Yep. Civil standard for negligence is known or should have known. So the question that we have to ask each other all the time, and Matt and I, we do this exercise. Hey, did you know or should you have known that this guy's a problem? Because if you have to answer that under oath, then guess what? We're going to be negligent. Our policies have to be clear. There's an art to writing a policy that gives you a little bit of wiggle room. Right. We use very little wills and a whole lot of may. Right. Very little we will terminate you if, and a whole lot of we may terminate you if. That way, if we decide not to terminate somebody, we haven't violated our policy.
Now, let's look at a hiring example. Let's say you hire a 21-year-old and your company policy states only to hire someone 22 or older. Then, years later, they get into an accident and kill someone. A good plaintiff attorney will look at your policy and say you should never have hired them in the first place. This leaves the company negligent because they should have known that this risk was avoidable according to the policy. So what's the lesson here? Well, it's easy in this case. Just follow your own rules. So what are the most common issues with policies? Well, the most common ones are that the policies only follow minimum requirements. They're too lengthy, they're too strict, or state or federal rules changed and the policies were never updated. Let's address each of those issues individually. Issues arise with minimum policy requirements when insurance agencies measure your fleet risk. If they know everyone is using a certain process or using a certain safety technology, they expect you to have those bare minimums because litigation attorneys will grill you in a deposition. As far as preventing lengthy and strict policies, safety managers should have policies that cover general rules along with an established and documented process on how the company handles policy violations as they come up. For example, let's say you have a driver with 1 million accident-free miles and they were just involved in a serious accident. If you have a strict policy to terminate the driver in this situation and you don't, you're at risk of being negligent, even if this was your best driver. A couple of tips here would be to use the terminology may terminate as opposed to will terminate in your policies, and to establish a driver training program which will help prove a strategic approach to preventing mistakes in the future. Lastly, if state and federal rules change, which happens often, you just need to stay on top of updating your policies. We handle all of this for a lot of our clients, so it's a simple and regular process for us to update policies, monitor CSA scores, handle insurance claims, DOT audits, and so much more. We even built multiple DOT compliance programs around it depending on your company's needs. Our PSM Safety Director program is our most comprehensive program and is meant to operate as your company's offsite safety director or to assist your current safety personnel. If you're ready to get started or would just like more information on how you can start being more proactive with your compliance, please reach out to our CNS compliance team by either filling out the form below, calling us at 888-260-9448, or emailing us at info@cnsprotects.com.